The Writings of Abraham, Chapter 91. Previous to this time, Amraphel, son of Nimrod, sovereign of Shinar, Kedorlaomer, sovereign of Elam, Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim in Padan Aram, had waged war against Berah, sovereign of Sodom, Birsha, sovereign of Amorah, Shinab, sovereign of Admah, Shem-Eber, sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela. They assembled for combat in the valley of Siddim, and the sovereign of Shinar and his royal allies overcame the sovereign of Sodom and his confederates and imposed tribute upon them. For 12 years they paid their tribute to the sovereign of Shinar, but in the 13th year they revolted against him. In the 14th year, the sovereign of Shinar led forth all his allies, and they went up along the way of the wilderness, attacking and plundering all who were confederate with the sovereign of Sodom. But the sovereign of Sodom, the sovereign of Amorah, the sovereign of Admah, the sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela came forth to battle, and met Amraphel and his allies in the valley of Siddim. However, Amraphel and his allies prevailed against them in Berah. Sovereign of Sodom turned and fled, and Birsha, sovereign of Amorah, fell into the slime pits which were in the valley of Siddim, and perished there. The remainder of the sovereigns fled unto the mountain which was called Hannibal, and tarried there in great fear. Chapter 92. But one of Lot's servants, who dwelt in his house, escaped and came to me in Hebron, and told me that Lot, my brother's son, had been taken with all his possessions, but that he yet lived. He showed me, moreover, the route which the sovereigns had taken toward the land of Damascus. When I heard this news, my heart melted within me for Lot, who had stood at my right hand, and had been as a brother to me in the place of my brother Haran, who had been slain in the land of Shinar. Oh, that Lot had stayed among the body of Kodashim, of the Most High Elohim, I thought, and not go off to possess his own property apart. Then these circumstances would never have befallen him, that he should be in the hands of Amraphel, son of Nimrod, sovereign of Shinar and his host. But as I thus mourned over Lot, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Up, arise thee, O Abraham, take 380 of the young men of the strength of thine house, and also thy friends and Aram, Ishkol, and Mamre, each with 105 of the strength of his house, and also Eleazar of Damascus, who is with thee in the tent, and pursue after Amraphel, son of Nimrod, sovereign of Shinar, for truly he shall deliver his hosts into your hands. Chapter 93. Wherefore we did according to all that Yahuwah had commanded me, having all 700 men, and we pursued after them even unto the valley of Dan, where we found them encamped. And falling upon them by night, from all 4 directions, we commenced the work of death, and continued wreaking slaughter among them, and discomforting them all that night. And with the rising of the sun they fled from before us until they reached Hobah, which is situated to the left of Damascus, where we did again overtake them, and conquer them. There we did strip them of all that they had taken as plunder and loot, and likewise of all their won goods. Lot also and his family we rescued from their hands, and restoring to him all his possessions, and all that they had taken from him as spoil, we restored him to his home in Shalom. Chapter 94. When the sovereign of Sodom heard that I had returned from the conquest of Amraphel, son of Nimrod, sovereign of Shinar, he came forth to meet me at the valley of Shaweh, which is west of the city of Shalom, where Noah and Melchizedek dwelt. And Melchizedek brought forth bread and wine from the city of Shalom unto the valley of Shaweh, where we were encamped. And he, being the Kohen Hagadol, after the order of the Most High Elohim, brake the bread and barak it, and he baraked the wine also, and he distributed them unto me, and those who were with me, and we partook, and we were filled. And Melchizedek lifted up his hands to the Shemaim and baraked me, and said, Baruch Abraham, thou art a man of the Most High Elohim, possessor of the Shemaim and of earth. Wherefore his name and Kehunah shall not depart from thee, and thy seed after thee, while the earth shall stand, and even in eternity shall it remain with thee. And Baruch is the name of the Most High Elohim, and Almighty his power, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And I, Abraham, gave into the hand of Melchizedek tithes of all I had taken, for he was the presiding Kohen Hagadol, after the order of the Most High Elohim, the first of the fathers unto me, and he reigned under his father Noah. Chapter 95. And when the sovereign of Sodom had come unto me, he said unto me, Abraham, give me the persons who are not thine, but who are with thee, whom thou hast rescued from the hand of Amraphel, son of Nimrod, sovereign of Shinar. But let all the property be left with thee. But I said unto him, This day do I, Abraham, lift up my hand before the Most High Elohim, before his Kodesh messengers, and before these witnesses who are with us, and declare that I will not take even so much as a thread or a shoe's latchet, which is not mine, lest thou shouldst say that all Abraham's wealth cometh freely from their possession. Only that which the young men who were with me have eaten, and that which Anaram, Eshcol, and Mamre, these three stalwarts who went with me, have received as their share, shall be accepted of all that I took from Amraphel, son of Nimrod, sovereign of Shinar, that was thine. The rest I return freely unto thee. Now go thy way in shalom. Thereupon I returned all the possessions and all the spoil, and gave them unto the sovereign of Sodom, and I released all the captives, and sent them away, rejoicing. Chapter 96. And when I had done this, Melchizedek again lifted up his voice and baraked me, saying, Baruch art thou, Abraham, for the Most High Elohim shall visit thee, and shall bestow upon thee riches and honor, and lands for an everlasting possession, because thou hast been true and faithful to the covenants which thou hast entered before him. Wherefore thou shalt continue to increase, worlds without end, and the glory of Yahuwah shall never depart from thee. The Barakoth of thy fathers shall rest upon thee, and thou shalt stand at the head, and in thee and in thy seed after thee, those who shall bear thy Kehunah, shall all the nations of the earth be Baruch. Chapter 97. Therewith I departed from Melchizedek, rejoicing in his barakah, for he was a man of faith who wrought righteousness, and as child he feared Elohim, and by his faith he stopped the mouths of lions and quenched the violence of fire when those of the evil combinations sought to destroy him from off the face of the earth. Therefore, having been approved of Elohim, he was ordained a Kohen Hagadol after the order of the covenant which Elohim made with Hanok, which is after the order of the firstborn, even our father, Adam. For this Kodesh order came not by man, nor the will of man, neither by father nor mother, neither by beginning of days nor end of years, but of Elohim. For it was established in the beginning of the earth by the ancients of days, wherefore it is called the order of the ancients, and it was delivered unto men from the beginning, by the calling of Elohim's own voice, according to his own will, through the voice of his Kehunah, unto as many as believed on his name, and were faithful until they had obtained. Chapter 98. Behold, these could transcend the veil according to the will of Elohim, and commune with the general assembly and ecclesia of the firstborn in the Shemaim, and many were caught up to be with them. For Elohim had sworn unto Hanok and unto his seed with an oath by himself, that every one being ordained after this order and calling should have power by faith to break mountains, to divide the seas, to dry up waters, to turn them out of their course, to put at defiance the armies of nations, to divide the earth, to break every band, to stand in the presence of Elohim, to do all things according to his will, according to his command, subdue principalities and powers, and this by the will of the Ben of the only begotten of the Father, which was from before the foundation of the world. And men having this faith and coming up unto this order of Elohim could be translated and taken up into the Shemaim. Chapter 99. Now Melchizedek was a Kohen after this order, which is the Kodesh order of Elohim. Therefore he obtained Shalom in the city of Shalom, and was called the Prince of Shalom. And his people wrought righteousness, and obtained the Shemaim, for they sought for the city of Hanok, which Elohim had before taken, separating it from the earth, having reserved it unto the latter days, or the end of the world. For Elohim have said and sworn with an oath, that the Shemaim and the earth should come together again, and the sons of Elohim be tried even by fire. And thus Melchizedek, having established righteousness, was called the sovereign of the Shemaim by his people, or, in other words, the sovereign of Shalom. And they communed with those in the city of Hanok, and in the city of Peleg, and had access to them, and were Baruch all their days. Chapter 100. After these things Elohim appeared to me in a vision, and he said unto me, Behold, Abraham, it is 10 full years since thou camest into the land from Haran. 2 years did thou remain then in the land. 7 years wast thou in Mitzrayim, and 1 year have passed since thy return from Mitzrayim. Now number all that thou hast, and see how it had increased, to double that which went out with thee in the day thou comest forth from Haran. Therefore fear not, for I am with thee, and I will be thine help and the source of thy strength. I will be thy shield and thine exceeding great reward, and thy wealth and thy possessions shall I increase exceedingly. Chapter 101. And I said unto him, My Yahuwah Elohim, truly my wealth and my possessions have increased, but behold, Eliezer of Damascus standeth as my heir. Whereas prior to my departure from the city of Shalom, Father Shem said unto me, Eliezer is a good and righteous man, and he shall be greatly Baruch in time and in eternity, but he shall not be thy heir. For another shall be thy heir, who shall come forth from the womb of thy wife, whom thou shalt take in the house of thy father, for she is ordained to be thy queen of queens, and the mother of thy heir. Wherefore then thou Sarah remain barren, having neither son nor daughter? Nay, replied Elohim, fear not, for none shall be thine heir, save he that shall come forth from the womb of thy wife Sarah. For she is ordained to be thy queen of queens, and the mother of thine heir. Therefore is her name called Sarah. Chapter 102. And Yahuwah took me out of the camp, and he said, Look now toward the Shemaim, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto me, So shall thy seed be. And I said unto him, Yahuwah Elohim, how wilt thou give me this land for an everlasting inheritance? And Yahuwah replied, Though thou wast dead, yet am I not able to give it thee? And if thou shalt die, yet thou shalt possess it. For the day cometh that the Ben of Adam shall live. But how can he live if he be not dead? He must first be quickened. And Yahuwah touched the eyes of my understanding, that they were opened, and I beheld the days of the Ben of Adam. For I beheld him ministering unto my seed, teaching them the Torah of Elohim, healing the sick, casting out devils, and doing many wonderful works. I saw also the Ben of Adam lifted up upon the stake for the sins of men. Wherefore I wept for the wickedness of man, which could crucify the Ben of Elohim. Nevertheless I saw also that he should rise again from the dead, wherein my heart did rejoice, and my soul found rest in the knowledge, that though I should die, yet again in the flesh, should I see Elohim, and dwell in the land of my inheritance. For I saw also the days of the coming of the Ben of Adam upon the earth in the last days, when he shall descend with 10,000s of his saints, according to the Nebuah of Father Hanok, and the earth shall be cleansed by fire. Then all shall rise to stand before Elohim, both the just and the unjust, to be judged according to their works. Chapter 103. And Yahuwah said unto me, I, Yahuwah thy Elohim, save thee from the fire in the land of Shinar, and from the hand of the wicked priest, and from all the evil intentions of sovereign Nimrod. And I brought thee into this land, that I might give it to thee as an everlasting inheritance. Now I knew that the word of Yahuwah was true. Nevertheless, I desired to know more of this inheritance which Yahuwah had provided me. Wherefore I said, Yahuwah, how shall it be that I shall inherit this land wherein I am a stranger? And Yahuwah said unto me, Take me a heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. Divide each of these in the midst, and lay 1/2 on each side of an open place. Except the birds thou shalt not divide, but lay one on each side. Wherefore I went and did according to all that Yahuwah had commanded me. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, I drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon me, and lo, in the sleep was a great horror of darkness. And I cried unto Yahuwah, saying, O Yahuwah, what meaneth this great horror of darkness? And Yahuwah said unto me, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land which shall not be theirs, and shall be in bondage to strangers, even to the seed of Ham, who shall again overrun the land of Mitzrayim. And thy seed shall be afflicted, and serve them 400 years. But at that time I shall judge the seed of Ham, and thy seed shall come up out of the land of Mitzrayim with great substance. And as for thee, thou shalt die and go to thy fathers in Shalom. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation thy seed shall come higher again, for the iniquity of the Canaanites is not yet full. Chapter 104. And it came to pass that when the sun was down and it was dark, behold, 2 personages passed between those pieces which I had divided. And their countenance was as fire, such that I could hardly look upon them. And the one said to me, Behold, of thy seed shall Hamashiach come, who shall redeem all those who believe on his name, and walk in his footsteps. Wherefore repent, and call upon the name of the Ben all thy days, that in the end thou mayest dwell with me in my mansion. Chapter 105. Now when Sarah saw that she bare neither son nor daughter, it grieved her heart. And she said unto me, Take therefore Hagar, daughter of Pharaoh, to be thy wife, for she is a woman now. And let her come into my bed, and let her womb be unto thee in the place of mine, to raise up seed unto thee. Hagar also was willing to enter this covenant, and it was according to the voice of the Ruach of Elohim. Wherefore Sarah gave Hagar to be my wife, and Sarah and Hagar were as one wife, unto that the seed of Hagar might be also the seed of Sarah. But Hagar had been raised by Sarah and been taught by her, and had followed Sarah in ways of righteousness. Chapter 106. And when I came into Hagar in Sarah's bed, she conceived. And when Hagar saw that she had conceived, she rejoiced greatly, and began to be lifted up in pride, and to despise Sarah. And she taunted Sarah, saying, Surely I am better than thee, for in all the years thy Adonai have lain with thee, thou hast not conceived. But lo, in this short time I have conceived from the seed of my Adonai. And Sarah was grieved in her heart, and she said unto me, Surely Hagar hath wronged me, and thou also hast contributed to her wrong. For she hath spoken despitefully to me in thy presence, yet thou hast done nothing to correct her. But I replied to Sarah, Surely Hagar is thy child, for thou hast instructed her from her youth. Correct her, therefore, as seemeth good.